If you're a freak like me that likes Spider-Man a little too much, then there's bound to be at least one thing that helped shape what you thought of the character and how much you like them. Whether that be the movies, shows, games, or fan films.
That's why I was on down there.
Spider-Man, you can't say that. Now for me, it was pretty much all of those, but one thing that I feel doesn't get talked about as much as the other things were all the random videos you would find when scrolling on YouTube. Videos like fake movie trailers or that one Spider-Man vs. Carnage animation. But there is one fan series that is almost as popular as the videos that I mentioned, but doesn't really get talked about as much. That being the stop-motion Spider-Man series by Lo Zhao's One. The very few people I've seen talk about this series have said it before, and I'll say it again. This series is basically just Toy Story if it actually used licensed action figures, and it is awesome. Now at first glance, this might seem like random YouTube content that serves no purpose and is only there to entertain people that are younger than Spider-Boy, and to an extent you're probably right in some way, but I think it would be really unfair for this series for you to just view it as that, because it is so much more. This series is genuinely so good at storytelling and really enjoyable to watch. Now, to properly look back at this series, I think we should look at things one by one, so why not start off with the thing that was probably the first thing to catch your attention, that being the animation. You know, for a series like this, I feel like you would expect the animation in the early episodes to absolutely suck. But surprisingly, that's not the case here. Sure, the early animation isn't the greatest thing in the world, but I wouldn't call it bad. And the fact that when this series started, the animation was pretty good makes it a lot more surprising and enjoyable to see the animation get a major improvement in the later episodes. And I mean, the characters just casually moving already looks really good, but the fight scenes are entirely completely something else, man. These fight scenes, especially in the later episodes, are genuinely so good and well choreographed. I love how characters use places and objects around them to try to win fights. It's really creative. And it really hammers home the whole, these are just action figures in some random home premise that this series has. The animation also does a really good job of showing the emotion of the characters, since besides the humans that sometimes appear in the series, none of the actual action figures talk ever. Thanks to the expressive animation, you can really tell what the characters are thinking and feeling, and I think it's done really well. Now, as for the characters themselves, we obviously have the main Spider-Man himself, portrayed by the Toy Biz superposable magnetic Spider-Man. You can tell that this is the version they use because of the super cool magnets on its hands. And as for the other characters, you have all the other Spider people that appear throughout the series, like Big Time Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, Mini Spider-Man, MCU Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man, Mafex Spider-Man, and the amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man. I will say though that at some point it does feel like they introduced way too many spider people. However, it does help that each Spider-Man has their own unique personality. Another thing that I really like about the series is that since this takes place inside of a home of someone that collects action figures, you don't just see Spider-Man, you also see other characters, like Iron Man, Transformers, and G.I. Joe, which also happened to be the first villain that the Spider-Man ever fought in the series. One of my favorite characters definitely has to be Superior Spider-Man. He pulls out the craziest moves so casually and is honestly one of the most enjoyable characters to watch. However, I will say that his personality did get a little too over-exaggerated towards the end of the series. One of my other favorite characters definitely has to be the Big Time Spider-Man, which is actually a villain in the show. No matter what happens to him, he'll always find a way to come back and just randomly appears in episodes that have nothing to do with him, only for him to get thrown into a blender for like the 5th time. A thing that I really like about him is how every time he comes back, the action figure gets even more and more damaged. He's like the Springtrap of this series, and I love it. You know, out of all the characters, I kinda find the main man himself to be the least interesting if I'm being honest. I wouldn't say he's a bad character or anything, but after all the other spider people start getting introduced, it becomes kinda hard to care for him. And the fact that he barely appears in the later stuff doesn't help his case either. So now that I've been hyping up this series a lot, you're probably wondering, well, what's the main story of this series? What's the meat and potatoes? Why should I care? What do these characters go through? What's the main conflict? Well, from what I remember, there's honestly not really a huge overarching plot. Each episode mainly just focuses on a different adventure, and while there are multi-part storylines, there's not really any main storyline material. And honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. And I think it helps that the continuity in this series is really good, and things that happened in previous episodes will come back in future ones. But if you were to ask me to choose what I think the main story of this series would be, well, honestly, I think I would say all the stuff to do with Thanos, since he gets defeated and then gets brought back towards the end of the series. And I think I would honestly consider this the final arc of the entire series in general. Sure, the ending itself is pretty anticlimactic, but I honestly prefer it over the last couple episodes that came out after it, since those actually felt like they had no purpose and were just doing random things. I would still say the actual last episode is a pretty solid send-off, but it just makes a lot more sense for me to have the Thanos arc be the final one. So if you were to ask me, I would say that the Spider-Man action series part 21 would be where the series ends. And so now some of you are probably wondering, well, how's the series doing now? And some of you who have paid attention to the certain words that I've been using probably know that, well, the series is kind of non-existent now. I mean, as sad as it is to see the series just kind of randomly go, it made sense. The series started 12 years ago. Past the 8-year mark, it was pretty evident that it was gonna go any day. Lozow's1 surprisingly still uploads on one of his other channels, but has completely rebranded it to Soul Serenity, where he just uploads this. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but according to him, he's rebranded it to a peaceful side of the internet. I don't know where you are now, Lozow's1, but thank you for making such goated stuff. I may have not really cared about all your other series besides the episodes that had Spider-Man in it, but I'm sure all of that was goated stuff too. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this series. The series is definitely very nostalgic for me and a lot of other people, and revisiting it was a lot of fun. If you have the time, I definitely recommend to at least check out one of these episodes if you just want to have a good time, because I promise you will not regret it. So my 1 hour nostalgia phase that I go through every 6 months just ended, so that's it. There's no outro this time, there's no have a good day, that's it. There's no more. There's no more!
Gonna be my celebrity phone call. Tom Holland. Man, what the? Man, I don't want to talk your